Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Databricks Masterclass series. If you are new to this channel, so here we are learning Databricks from absolute in beginner level to advanced enterprise level implementation with real world examples, hands-on demonstration, interview preparations, and industry best practices. So in our previous session, we discussed what is Databricks, why organization use Databricks, and Databricks architecture overview. Then we have create a Azure Databricks workspace and real world use cases. So today's session is extremely important because we are going to enter the Databricks workspace for the first time and understand every major component that data engineers, data scientists, and data analytics use daily. So this is not going to be a slide based theoretical session. We will perform everything practically. We will click every menu, explore every option, create real resources, understand what happened behind the scene, and most importantly, understand why we are doing it. My goal is not to make you memorize Databricks. My goal is make you understand Databricks because once you understand the concepts, you can work confidently in any project and answer interview question without memorizing anything. By the end of this masterclass, you will understand what exactly is a Databricks workspace, how the Databricks UI is organized, what notebook are and then how they work, and what happen when you execute code, what clusters are and why they are required, driver node, work node architecture, cluster creation and configuration, auto scaling, cost optimization, job scheduling, repository, Git integration, Unity catalog, user management and security, real world best practices. Okay, so grab a notebook and open your Databricks workspace and let's start learning. So before we create anything, let's first understand what is Databricks workspace actually. So most beginners think Databricks is just a coding tool. So that is one of the biggest misconception. Databricks is a complete cloud-based data platform. Think about Microsoft Office. Inside Microsoft Office, you have Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, and Teams. Similarly, inside Databricks, you have Notebook, Compute, Workflow, Job, Dashboards, Catalog, Repositories, and Security Controls. So all these components live inside a workspace. If you, I can zoom it. So here you can see that. Okay, workspace, compute, job, scheduling, okay, security control, everything, dashboard is there. So a workspace act as a central environment where users collaborate, build solutions, execute workloads, and manage data. So after, let's open this one, and after launching the workspace, you have noticed that workspace URL. Okay, so every organization receive its own isolated Databricks environment. This ensures security, governance, and data isolation. This is the foundation of everything you will build throughout this course. Now let's spend a few minutes understanding the user interface. So most students immediately jump into coding, and professional engineers first understand the platform. Let's explore the left navigation panel. Okay, we will go through every menu and one by one. So this is your home page. So the home page act as your landing page. This is where you can quickly access recent notebook jobs, dashboard, resources. Okay, so think of it as your personal workspace dashboard. Next thing is workspace. So this is where developers spend most of their time. Workspace store notebooks, folder, scripts, and project assets. Think of it like a Google Drive for Databricks development. Okay, then catalog. So in catalog, basically, this is where your data asset live. For example, tables, view, schemas, functions, volume, and data governance are managed here. So we will explore this in detail later. Let's move to compute. So this section provide processing power. Without compute, nothing runs. Remember this statement: a notebook does not execute code, a cluster execute codes. So this concept is extremely important. Now next important thing is dashboards. So dashboard basically help business users to consume insights without writing code. This is where analytical become visible to decision maker. Now that we understand the interface, let's start some building that one. So one of the biggest difference here, uh, so one of the biggest difference between beginner and experienced engineer is organization. So let's create a project structure that resembles a real enterprise implementation. So first create a folder. So for example, I have created this folder and I can name like Databricks underscore demo. Okay. In that folder, we can create notebook, our SQL pipeline, SQL code, Python, ETL, okay, data lakes, utility. Every folder we have created here in a structured way. So now let me explain why this matter. Because imagine join a project where hundreds of notebook are stored in a one folder. Okay, and finding resources become difficult. So maintaining project becomes difficult and onboarding new team member becomes difficult. So proper organization saves hundred of hour over the life cycle of a project. So let's create our first notebook. I can. So, but before creating it, let's understand what's a notebook actually. A notebook is an interactive development environment. Unlike traditional development where code, output, and documentation exist in separate places. So Databricks combines everything together. A notebook can contain Python, SQL queries, Scala code, R code, okay, and here we do documentation, charts, visualization, okay. So I can create our first notebook and rename it. We can name like Databricks underscore basic, okay. And here I choose the language Python. Now observe something important. The notebook is created successfully, but when I try to run code, database asks for compute. Let me show you. For example, I can print Okay, so here showing the waiting for the computer is ready. Okay, why it is showing? Because notebook do not execute code, clusters execute code. And this is the one of the most important concept for beginners and understand the execution process. So we will understand exactly what happening behind the scene in the next chapter. So most students think code execute immediately after clicking run. In reality, several things happen behind the scene. I can show you some diagram here. So step one, where we have notebook, send the request. So here we have sending the request to the driver node, and driver once driver node receives the request, so driver node create the execution plan. Okay, it is creating the execution plan. And tasks are distributed to the work node. For example, we have a two task, it is distributed to the worker node. And worker node execute processing and result returned to the driver node. For example, it is after processing, it is returned to the driver node, and driver node send result back to the notebook, and notebook is displaying the output. So this architecture is the foundation of Spark and Databricks. So on that, understanding this concept will make future Spark topic much easier. Let's deep dive into clusters. So this is the most important database concept, clusters. A cluster is a collection of virtual machine working together as a single processing engine. Image processing 1 billion of records on a laptop, not a practical. Databricks solve this problem by distributing work across multiple machines. A cluster consists of driver nodes and worker node. Okay, the driver act as a brain and worker perform as a actual processing. So think of the driver as a project manager and think worker as a team member. Execute the task. So let's create a cluster. Click on the compute, and if you go through here, these are the options. Okay, so based on that, you can create your clusters. Now to understand auto scaling and cost optimization. So one of the Databricks most powerful capability is auto scaling. Instead of keeping expensive resource running continuously, Databricks automatically increases or decreases resource based on the demand. Okay, so like we have a minimum workers 2 and maximum worker are 8. I can show you with some example. So for example, as workloaded is increases like 2, 4, 6 and 8. Okay, and workload is decrease 8, 6, 4 and 2. Why I'm showing that one? So if you enable the auto scaling, okay, so instead of keeping expensive resources running continuously, Databricks automatically increase or decrease resources based on the demand. So this improve both performance and cost efficiency. Now let's discuss real world cost optimization strategy. So first strategy is enable auto termination, use job clusters, enable auto scaling, monitor utilization, avoid oversized clusters, and use cluster policies. Now our cluster is ready here. Okay. So meanwhile, I can explain the jobs. Okay. So jobs, or we can say that workflows. So in the real project, nobody run notebook manually every day. Organization automate everything. So for example, I can create a job. So once you click on the creation of job, here you, option is that attach your notebook. So for example, we have previously had a notebook, so it is now going to here. And after attaching the notebook, we have option is scheduling the things, add triggers, job parameters. Okay, add retry logic, add notification, everything is there. So you can uh, create a more automation and more informative thing here, and monitor log. So this is how production ETL pipelines operate in enterprise environment. Okay. Now next important is catalog. So catalog is Databricks centralized governance solution. Think of it as a control center for managing data access and security. The hierarchy look like catalog includes schema and table. So this concept is similar to SQL Server. In database, we have a schema and table. Understanding this hierarchy helps beginners related to the Databricks concept to traditional databases. We will explore governance, permission, and linkage in future sessions. So this is the catalog thing. Let's go through with some user management and security. So security is a critical responsibility of every data engineer, and for security thing, we you can just create a new user and assign some role. And so basically we have follow the structure, like we have a user, we have assigned some role with him, and we have include that person in particular group and give the grant permission. Okay, like workspace admin, you aware about that. If you open, like explore this one, so workspace admin here, user roles, groups. Okay, so these concepts become increasingly important in enterprise implementations. So you can create that one as a security perspective. So today we have covered Databricks workspace, user interface, project organization, notebook, code execution flow, clusters, driver and worker node, auto scaling, cost optimization, job and scheduling, catalog, user management. So this foundation will help you understand every advanced Databricks topic moving forward. So thank you for joining today's Databricks classes. If you found this session valuable, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the upcoming sessions. And in next masterclass, we will go deeper Apache Spark architecture and understand Spark execution flow, DAG, jobs, stages, task, executor, partition. So these concepts are critical for both project work and interviews. So comment below with the phrase Databricks Workspace Master and let me know which topic you would like to see next. Thank you for watching and keep learning, keep growing, and I will see you in the next session.